What if love could transcend death itself, transforming tragedy into something beautiful and eternal? In the vast tapestry of Greek mythology, few stories capture the power of devotion quite like the tale of Sex and Alcyone. Ancient Greece was a civilization that understood the complexities of human emotion. Their myths weren't just stories, they were profound explorations of love, loss, and the divine forces that shape our world. These tales emerged from a culture that saw gods and mortals intertwined, where the line between the natural and supernatural was beautifully blurred. Our story begins in the kingdom of Trachis, where Sex ruled as a wise and beloved king. He was the son of Eosphoros, the morning star, carrying within him the light of dawn itself. His queen, Alcyone, was the daughter of Aeolus, the powerful god of the winds. Together they embodied a perfect union of celestial light and elemental force. Sex and Alcyone shared a love so profound that it became legendary throughout the ancient world. They were inseparable, finding joy in each other's company and ruling their kingdom with wisdom and compassion. Their subjects often remarked that the royal couple seemed to glow with happiness, as if the gods themselves had blessed their union, but their perfect happiness contained the seeds of its own destruction. In their overwhelming joy, Sex and Alcyone began calling each other by the names of the greatest gods. Sex would lovingly call Alcyone his Hera, while she would address him as her Zeus. To them, these were simply expressions of the divine nature of their love. The real Zeus and Hera, however, did not appreciate this presumption. The king and queen of the gods viewed this as dangerous hubris, a mortal overreach that demanded punishment. Divine jealousy stirred in the heavens, and the fate of the loving couple was sealed. As if sensing the approaching darkness, Sex became troubled by strange dreams and omens. He felt compelled to consult the oracle at Delphi, seeking guidance about these disturbing visions. Despite Alcyone's desperate pleas for him to stay, Sex insisted that he must make this sacred journey across the treacherous seas. Alcyone's heart filled with dread as she watched her beloved prepare for departure. She had inherited her father's deep connection to the winds and could sense the brewing storm in her very bones. Her tears fell like rain as she begged Sex to reconsider, but his determination remained unshaken. The morning of departure arrived gray and ominous. Alcyone clung to Sex at the harbor, extracting a solemn promise from him. If the worst should happen, he must return to her in whatever form possible. Sex, trying to comfort his distraught wife, pledged that nothing would keep him from coming back to her arms. As Sex's ship disappeared beyond the horizon, Alcyone retreated to the highest tower of their palace. Day after day, she maintained her vigil, scanning the endless expanse of water for any sign of returning sails. Her hope remained strong, even as the days stretched into weeks. Meanwhile, Zeus's wrath manifested as Sex's ship encountered the most violent storm in living memory. Mountainous waves crashed over the vessel, while hurricane winds tore at its sails. The experienced sailors fought desperately against the supernatural tempest, but mortal strength proved no match for divine fury. As the ship began breaking apart, Sex's final thoughts were of his beloved Alcyone. He called out her name as the churning waters claimed him, his last prayer asking the gods to carry his body back to her shores. The son of the morning star disappeared beneath the dark waves, his light extinguished by divine punishment. Back in Trachis, Alcyone continued her faithful watch, unaware that her world had already shattered. She spent her days praying to every god she could name, but especially to Hera, begging for her husband's safe return. The irony was heartbreaking, as she unknowingly prayed to the very goddess who had orchestrated their doom. Hera, observing Alcyone's devoted prayers, felt a stirring of guilt and pity. The goddess realized that punishing the innocent wife served no purpose, and her heart softened toward the grieving queen. Unable to undo Zeus's wrath, Hera decided to offer Alcyone the gift of truth. however painful it might be. Hera sent Iris, the rainbow messenger, to the cave of Somnus, the god of sleep. She instructed Somnus to craft a dream that would reveal Ceyx's fate to his waiting wife. The god of sleep shaped a vision of the drowned king, allowing Ceyx to appear to Alcyone exactly as he was in death. In her dream, Alcyone saw her beloved standing before her, his hair dripping with seawater and his royal robes clinging to his pale form. Ceyx spoke with infinite sadness, telling her of the storm, his death, and his eternal love for her. He begged her to mourn him properly and to eventually find happiness again. Alcyone awakened with a scream that echoed through the palace halls. She knew, with absolute certainty, that the dream was true, that her beloved Ceyx was gone forever. Driven by desperate love, she ran to the very spot on the shore where they had said their final goodbye. As dawn broke over the restless sea, Alcyone spotted something floating in the distance. Her heart recognized what her eyes could barely make out. Ceyx's body was being carried toward shore by the gentle morning waves, as if the sea itself sought to honor his final request. Unable to bear the sight of her dead beloved, Alcyone climbed onto the rocky pier that jutted into the water. With tears streaming down her face, she spread her arms wide and leaped, choosing to join Ceyx in death rather than live without him in life. But the gods, moved by such pure devotion, decided that this love story deserved a different ending. As Alcyone's body fell toward the water, she began to transform. Her arms became wings, her cries became sweet songs, and her form shifted into that of a beautiful seabird. Simultaneously, Ceyx's lifeless body stirred with new purpose. The same divine magic that transformed his wife also changed him, granting him wings and the gift of flight. Together, they rose from the waves as a pair of magnificent kingfishers, their love finally free from mortal constraints. The transformation granted them eternal togetherness, but their story gifted the world something even more remarkable. Aeolus, Alcyone's father and god of the winds, was so moved by his daughter's devotion that he granted a special blessing. For 7 days before and 7 days after the winter solstice, he calms all winds and storms. These 14 days became known as the Halcyon Days, named after Alcyone's new form as the Halcyon bird. During this peaceful time, the kingfisher couple can nest safely on the tranquil waters, raising their young without fear of storms. Sailors throughout the ancient world learned to recognize this blessed period of calm seas. The myth of Ceyx and Alcyone resonates across cultures and centuries because it speaks to fundamental human experiences. Their story explores the depths of marital love, the pain of separation, and the hope that love might somehow transcend death itself. It asks whether devotion can be so pure that it moves even the hearts of gods. In our modern world, we still use the phrase halcyon days to describe periods of peace and happiness. The scientific name for kingfishers, halcyon, preserves Alcyone's memory in the natural world. Their story reminds us that sometimes the most beautiful transformations emerge from the deepest tragedies. The tale has inspired countless artists, poets, and writers throughout history. From ancient Greek pottery to Renaissance paintings, from classical literature to contemporary novels, Ceyx and Alcyone continue to symbolize love's ultimate triumph over death and separation. Their story teaches us that true love creates its own form of immortality. While we may not literally transform into birds, the bonds we forge with others can transcend the physical limitations of our existence. Love becomes a force that shapes the world around us, creating moments of peace and beauty, even in the midst of life's storms. So the next time you see kingfishers dancing over calm water, remember Ceyx and Alcyone. Their eternal love story continues to unfold with every flight, every song, and every peaceful moment on the tranquil seas. In Greek mythology, love doesn't just conquer all, It transforms everything it touches into something magnificent and everlasting.